Thank you, everyone, for joining us today on this Monday before Thanksgiving. Mayor Jerry L. Demings will be talking about the coronavirus numbers and his goals for the week. The mayor will also be talking about our CARES monies for individual families, and also our PPE free giveaway for small businesses. Mayor Buddy Dyer is here from the city of Orlando to talk about staying safe during this most unusual Thanksgiving. Epidemiologist Alvina Chu is here from the Department of Health in Orange County to dive deeper into the trends that we are seeing. And now, Mayor Demings.
All right, thank you, Jane. Thank you all for being here today. Hopefully you had a good weekend. We had a very active weekend here in Orange County with a lot of different things that were going on. I want to tell you from the beginning, due to this being the Thanksgiving week, we likely will only have this media briefing from an Orange County COVID-19 response perspective. We do hope that the families who are getting together for this holiday season are able to do so in the safest manner. We have come in on several different occasions and given suggestions about how you may be able to gather. I hope that our families take their own personal safety into consideration when making plans. This week, I'm going to go over the goals. Every week we start out, I kind of tell you what I think we are going to accomplish during the week, and then at the end of the week, we usually tell you whether or not we hit the mark or not. But this week, our number one goal, obviously, is to continue to slow the spread of the virus within our community. Secondly, we will continue to do so by offering free COVID-19 rapid and PCR testing through Orange County Health Services to anyone who needs it. Please note, however, that we will be doing it every day this week with the exception of Thanksgiving. Our staff will be taking off on that particular day that normally works in this environment. But they have been working this past week. They worked 7 days a week, and they're working through this week to make sure that we do have adequate availability within our community. We will also continue to offer financial assistance to individuals and families. I know that that remains very important to our residents. We will also continue to offer free PPE to small businesses within Orange County. The State Health Department just updated its numbers not long ago, so these are the most recent numbers that we have been able to gather. There are a reported 55,047 cumulative positive cases within Orange County. That is an increase of 419 cases from Saturday to Sunday. 629 Orange County residents have died as a result of the coronavirus. That's an increase of 10 deaths since our last briefing on Thursday. Let me just amplify something that has been in the news recently, and it's regarding the passing of Seminole County Sergeant James LaRue. You all know that he died as a result of contracting COVID-19. There's a connection here to Orange County. He has a son that works here in Orange County as an Orange County Corrections Officer. So in many ways, our Orange County family now has been touched by someone who died as a result of the virus. Each one of these press briefings, we try to put a face on this virus, and certainly our hearts and prayers go out to that particular family as well as to the other residents who recently lost someone as a result of the virus. Our 2-week positivity average is staying around 7.7%. Slight news flash here. The application portal for individual and family crisis assistance will open tomorrow, Tuesday, November the 24th at 8 a.m. Residents that are interested in applying are urged to log on when the portal opens, as there will be a capacity for 15,000 users. Last time the portal opened, we opened it up to some 15,000, and we reached that capacity within 30 minutes. So we anticipate that it will likely go quickly. Once you are in the portal, however, please take your time. You will have adequate time to complete your application. As a reminder, the program now allows other adults from the same household to apply for financial assistance. That means if you reside at the same address as someone who already received a grant, you can now also apply for the $1,000 payment, whether you are a roommate or another adult living in that household. Before you apply, however, please read all the eligibility criteria. Required documents and frequently asked questions can be found at ocfl.net/orangecares. A bit of good news, we will likely reopen the portal for a final round in early December in order to meet our December the 30th deadline established by the federal government. We have done an assessment. We believe that where we are today with funds that are allocated or have been spent, that we will likely have the opportunity to reopen the portal after tomorrow one more time. Let me talk a little bit about our eviction diversion program for landlords and tenants. We are continuing to accept applications. However, the portal will be closing for new applications in about 3 weeks, December the 16th. This will allow us time to process all of the eviction diversion applications before the deadline. Applications that are in the system will be processed until December the 24th. So we'll roughly be 1 week out from our deadline at that time. So far, approximately 2,000 Orange County families have been able to stay in their homes as a result of our eviction diversion program. $5.8 million have already been paid out through the Comptroller's Office to landlords and on their tenants' behalf. Our testing site at Barnett Park continues to be a busy place. It's a very popular place to go these days. It is open 7 days per week from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Again, it will be closed on Thursday of this week. This past Saturday and Sunday was the first time we were open for the weekend. We had a 2-day total of 2,718 tests that were administered over the weekend. 1,951 of them were antigen rapid tests. The rest were the PCR molecular tests, 787. You don't need an appointment to get a test, but you can choose to get either or both. With the increased operations that we have, we anticipate testing up to 8,000 residents per week. For more information on the free testing, visit our website at ocfl.net/testing. Next week, Orange County government will give away free personal protective equipment to small businesses with 40 or less employees that are located in Orange County. Free PPE kit distribution, including disposable face masks and hand sanitizers, will take place from Tuesday, December the 1st through Thursday, December the 3rd. These giveaway sites will be at Downey Park, Cypress Grove Park, and West Orange Park. The hours of distribution next week will be 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Businesses will need an appointment to get the free PPE. Owners are required to pre-register at ocfl.net/PPE before visiting a distribution location. That gives us an idea about the number of supplies that we need at each of the sites. Businesses will need to bring the ticket to the site to get the free PPE. This is something that they can download from the website. Also, we mentioned a few weeks ago that CareerSource Central Florida and Valencia College are teaming up to offer a variety of training courses at the Orange County Convention Center. Those courses will begin next Monday, November the 30th. Some of the courses that will be offered there will be IT or network support specialist, medical office specialist, electronic board assembly, and clinical medical assisting. Residents can apply for vocational courses and tuition assistance through CareerSource Central Florida and the name of the program, by the way, is Help is Here. The Help is Here grant program. For more information, they can visit CareerSource of Central Florida's website at careersourcecentralflorida.com/helpishere. And today, we were engaged in our toy drive activities. Once again, I want to thank our generous residents and community partners for taking part in the drive-through Mayor's Toy Drive, which ended at 3 p.m. today. We received almost 800 donated toys, and a short time ago at the Silver Star Recreational Park, one resident dropped off 250 toys. We also saw a lot of generosity today at the Downey Park location, so let me just say thank you on behalf of all Orange County residents for your assistance. Santa Claus is indeed coming to town. I want to thank the Orlando Magic and their mascot Stuff for donating over 120 basketballs. I had the opportunity to challenge Stuff to a free throw shooting contest today. Of course, I won. I know the boys and girls who received the basketballs will be thrilled. If you missed this event and the opportunity to donate, please know that the toy drive is continuing through December the 14th. There are over 20 drop-off sites for residents to donate unwrapped toys, unwrapped new toys. For the first time ever, we also have a website now for residents to purchase toys online. You can do so by going to our website until December the 7th. If you want to contribute or purchase the specific toy items online. To learn more about the toy drive or how you can donate, you can go to our website again at ocfl.net/toy drive. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Buddy Dyer.
Thank you, Mayor Demings. Thank you for being here today. I want to echo Mayor Demings' comments about the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday. Usually a time when we gather in large group with our families and our friends, but it's critical that we remember this year, unfortunately, we have to do things a little bit differently. Thanksgiving is about gratitude and it's about kindness, and I can think that one of the best and most compassionate gifts that we can give to the people we love this holiday season is safety, safety from the spread of the virus. The best way to do that is by truly following the pandemic precautions, even though they may not be compatible with some of your family traditions or what we're used to. We know that COVID spreads more easily inside than outside, and we know that if you have people that are from outside your home bubble, that increases the risk of transmission. And I know from experience, from conversations with my mom and my kids, how difficult it is to say no to loved ones or tell them that they have to make alternative plans. But in order to keep everybody safe and ensure that our Thanksgivings, our future Thanksgivings, we can have together again, we have to make changes. And with the holidays just a few days away, so is the beginning of the holiday shopping season. Mayor Demings, I know that you have often been asked about business compliance, and I want to thank our community's businesses, business owners for what they've been doing in order to keep their customers and everybody safe. Over the last couple of months, I've tried to visit small businesses, a couple every week, like Charlie's Bakery and the Curry Ford West Main Street, Foodies Cafe in Paramore. Today I was at Palmer's Garden and Goods in Audubon Park, and I've been very impressed with the steps that most of our businesses have taken to protect their employees and protect their customers. And as we talk about our local small businesses, Small Business Saturday is the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and I want to encourage our community, when you're planning your holiday shopping, to think small first, especially our small businesses that continue to operate safely for their patrons. Many of the services we need are provided by our neighbors, and it's easy to do a quick web search rather than a corporate web purchase. Our small businesses are what makes Orlando unique, and we want to ensure that we help them persevere during these tough times, and we want to encourage everyone to purchase local. All the dollars that are spent in our local businesses are reinvested into our community. So a happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Thank you. Ms. Chu?
Thank you. As the mayor had mentioned previously, we have had a cumulative 55,047 cases reported in Orange County. The recovery rate is still at 92%. The age range for the cases ranges from 0 to 110 years, and the median age for the entire pandemic remains at 35 years for Orange County. Over the last day or so, the age group that has contributed the most to the pandemic is in the 25 to 34 years. Unfortunately, there have been 629 deaths total since the last time we spoke. There have been an additional 10 deaths. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the family and friends. The age range for these deaths is 61 to 90 years. Exactly half, so 5 were female, 5 were male, 2 were Black, 7 were white, and 1 was other. 6 were Hispanic, and 4 non-Hispanic. 8 have known underlying health conditions, and 2 have no known underlying health conditions. 3 dates of death are from September and were approved through a third-level state review. 3 dates of death are from October, and 4 dates of death are from November. 4 of the 10, 40% of the deaths, have been reported with a long-term care facility residential address. And so, as we have mentioned before, 80% of the deaths are in persons who have a known underlying health condition. And so I want to reemphasize at this time when we are getting together in households, multi-generational households, children, parents, grandparents, and perhaps great-grandparents, that there are those who are especially vulnerable to some kind of severe outcome related to a COVID-19 infection, which could be severe illness, hospitalization, and potentially death. So with that, some important COVID-19 messages. There are people who absolutely should not attend an in-person holiday gathering. This may be obvious to state, but if you are positive, a known positive right now for a COVID-19 infection, and you have not been recommended for de-isolation, or you are recommended to stay at home for the length of time that your physician or healthcare provider or the health department has recommended for you, please do not go to an in-person gathering, because you could be at risk for spreading this illness to those your loved ones who might be especially vulnerable. If you have symptoms of COVID-19 or you are sick, please don't go to a gathering. If you are awaiting the results of a COVID-19 test, please don't go to a gathering yet until you know what that result might be. And if you have been exposed to someone with COVID-19 in the last 14 days, this means that you may potentially be incubating the infection and not know it yet. There's a potential that you might be shedding the virus and be infectious to others, even if you don't feel sick. And so please stay at home and don't attend an in-person gathering. And so this is the definition of quarantine. So for persons who have been exposed, the length of time that you might develop the illness and potentially be infectious to others is 14 days. And so the recommendation is, after you have a known exposure, please self-quarantine at home for 14 days. And unfortunately, if you are one of those groups that is at an increased risk for illness, so if you have a known underlying health condition, please, I know it's hard, but if you could, please don't attend an in-person gathering, because you may put yourself at risk by exposing yourself to others who may not have been cautious or practicing the good pandemic precautions. Some guidance for in-person gatherings, we've talked about these before, and so not just Thanksgiving, which is just around the corner, but consider going all virtual for Thanksgiving this year. If it's not possible, then as Mayor Dyer had mentioned, outside is better than inside, or at least good circulation or ventilation within the location that you're going to be at. Try to limit your gatherings to those who you live with in the same household, or certainly the smaller the numbers, the better. And also who you invite matters a little bit. You know, if you have some family members who you know don't practice their good pandemic precautions, then they are at a risk because they may be infectious and not know it. So they are out and about and circulating and not protecting themselves or others. If you can, ensure that guests wear a mask as much as possible while at the gathering. I know this is hard when you want to eat or drink. Try to refrain from singing or shouting indoors if you're together. Try to avoid crowds and to socially distance within the home. And then also clean and disinfect frequently touched surfaces and objects. Please don't let your guard down during these holidays. And so protect yourself by practicing the good pandemic precautions, as we always say, which is wearing your mask, washing your hands, and watching your distance. And lastly, as a reminder, if you haven't done so, please get your flu shot, because we know a flu shot can protect you against that respiratory virus at least. Thank you. And with that, I'll turn that back to Mayor Demings.
Okay, and just as a reminder, if we have any Spanish-speaking media here, let us know. We do have Ms. Ilia Torres from my office who will do the translation. And so we will open it up. We know Lauren Seabrook is back. And so Dr. Pino is not here today. But Ms. Hsu, she likely has a question for you from the very beginning.
It's true. I do have one question for you, and one question for Mayor Demings as well. For you, Alvina,
The mayor.
do you want to go first? Or?
She's up.
Okay. Lauren Seabrook, Channel 9. I'm wondering, with all of the testing sites closing down on Thursday, are you expecting to see, a big difference in the numbers because there will be kind of some catch-up time? And what should we know about that? And then my second question for the mayor is just if the strike team plans on doing anything on Black Friday to keep an eye out on crowds and that type of thing.
So I think we've talked about the context of all of the data that come in. And so in general, we don't belabor necessarily the variations in reporting. So I do expect, today's Monday, I do expect there will be some tests that will be reported in after the holiday and after the weekends. And so there will be some variation. What I really want to look at are the trends and the percent positivity. And so sort of looking at an overall context for the interpretation of those data. Thank you. Thank you.
In terms of the strike teams, we do anticipate that they'll be out this upcoming weekend, and we'll see how that goes. Okay.
Steve Hudak from the Sentinel. This is for Mayor Demings. Can you give us an idea of how much CARES Act money is left to be distributed?
I believe that the number I saw today was about $13 million.
We've done pretty good.
Yeah. We've done very good. With the various allocation categories that we put in place, we believe that even with the reallocations, we do not intend to return any money. So that's why I said earlier that we will likely reopen the portal in early December for individuals and families. If I have to prioritize where we will spend the money, if there's money to be reallocated, we want to put it in the hands of individuals and families primarily. And I know that because of the significant permanent furloughs from various businesses, most of them now will begin to realize those permanent layoffs during the month of December. So I believe December is going to be a critical month in many different ways for our community. And so we are perhaps a month or two away from having the vaccine widely available to certain demographics within our community. And so we're trying to buy time here And this is why we're kind of doubling down on testing, putting personal protective equipment out into the community, and then putting dollars into the hands of individuals, families, and businesses.
Can I follow up with just one thing about that? Are you hopeful that there's a second round from the Fed?
I'm very hopeful that the need across America has exceeded the capacity of state and local governments. So without federal funding and assistance, we will not be able to meet the needs of the American people. So I remain optimistic that there will be another round. What it looks like, who knows? There'll be a lot of negotiations, obviously, within Congress about how much and what the priorities will be.
Amanda Dukes from Channel 2, and I have a question for Alvina. Alvina, for folks, we've repeatedly heard the suggestion that if people were going to attend a Thanksgiving gathering to get tested first, but if you've had no known exposure and no symptoms, and you go to Barnett Park and get a rapid test, which comes back negative, how much confidence does that give you that, you know, several days later on Thanksgiving Day, you're still not potentially infected?
So I had mentioned that we should still practice the good pandemic precautions regardless of whether or not you get a negative test, because if you are a person that has been out and about, circulating or mingling with others outside of your cohorts, essentially if you are not at home under quarantine, then you have some kind of exposure in the community. And right now, in our community, we do have a percent positivity or a number of cases that puts us at some increased level of transmission over some place that is zero. The trends are increasing, albeit slowly at this point. So we have this opportunity right now to flatten the curve, and so maintaining good pandemic precautions. The rapid test can be a good test. And so it's a good test to try to determine who it might be positive right now so that you know not to go to Thanksgiving or an in-person gathering.
Danielle Lama with Fox 35. My question's for Mayor Demings. Mayor, do you know, did the strike team go back to any of those businesses you mentioned last week to see how they were doing this weekend?
In terms of the bars, I believe are likely what you're referencing. They have not been back yet. That doesn't mean that they will not be going back. They have visited over 5,200 businesses at this point, and some 600 plus they've gone back to at least once. Some of them as many as 6 times, but I'm happy to report that when we go back multiple times, we eventually gain compliance in almost every case.
Hi, Eric Mock, Spectrum News 13. Questions for Mayor Demings. Yeah, you can just stand there. So I know you guys are urging, people if you don't need to travel, don't travel, which is good advice for the pandemic. But are you concerned about the loss of what we would normally see, a lot of tax revenue, tourism dollars coming in during the holiday season that might not be there now here in Orange County?
I think it's all relative. The airport reported today that within the last few days, we've had the second busiest airport in the nation. So in spite of the travel warnings, if you will, there are still people traveling here, and they are going to continue to come here. I believe that our theme parks have put an abundance of protocols in place to open and to provide a place of, I think, relaxation for the American public to be able to do so safely. So our numbers for the month of November, December, they're going to be down year over year from where they were last year. But to put it into perspective, every major metropolitan area in America has seen an economic downturn. And so we are not unique in that sense. But I'm optimistic that because of the way we have gone about doing business here, the way we have gained general compliance with people wearing the mask and other things, that we have been relatively successful as a major metropolitan or urban community and not having the double-digit types of increases that some other metropolitan communities are experiencing around America, where they have had to shut down. I think that correlates to the willingness of our public to follow the directions that we have been recommending now for months. So I agree with Mayor Dyer. You know, we have to, applaud our local businesses for what they have been doing and how they've been doing it. So we have learned to live with the virus, I think, better over time, and that translates into us having the kind of experience that we have here. Okay.
Megan Cruz from Channel 9. If this wasn't 2020, the day before Thanksgiving is usually a very popular bar day. Given that this year, is there going to be any extra enforcement either that day or throughout this holiday weekend?
I will say that we've had some associations of bars or restaurants that have reached out to us who now want to be proactive, who want to make certain that they're working with us, and they're very interested in the review of the teams, the health care teams that we have, the experts. They are very interested in hearing what they have to say about how can they open and to do so safely. But each one of us are going to have to make our own personal decision when you go to a respective business, whether or not you're comfortable going in, whether or not you feel safe going in. Obviously, we're suggesting that if you are at home, you heard all of the things that Mayor Dyer said, you heard what Ms. Shue said today, you're going to have to make some decisions, some tough decisions. You're going to have to make an adjustment. We're living during the period of a pandemic that daily people are dying as a result of. So you cannot ignore it or carry on like it doesn't exist. And when we talk about families, Thanksgiving is one of those family holidays. And if you think about, especially if you have a multi-generational family, you have to be concerned about how you go about exposing or not exposing your family. Okay.
Alibet Suárez para Telemundo, 31 Orlando. Mi pregunta es, ¿cuál es el llamado que le hace a la comunidad y a los pequeños negocios para ayudar a disminuir los casos de contagio en esta temporada de Acción de Gracias?
The question from reporter from Telemundo is, what is your call to residents and business as we approach the holiday season?
I couldn't understand what you said.
I am sorry. The question from Telemundo is, what is your call to residents and businesses as we approach the holiday season?
You know, my call to our residents is to let's enjoy the holiday and celebrate our families, but do so safely.
Mi llamada para los residentes de nuestra comunidad es que disfruten de las festividades, pero que lo hagan de forma segura.
Okay.
This next question was texted in from Maya Laura with the Lakeland Ledger. The question reads, has Orange County noticed a dip in compliance with the mask mandate since Governor DeSantis' Phase 3 executive order, which suspended any fine collections on the individual level for violations of the mask mandate?
Here in Orange County, we never had penalties associated with individuals, and we did not institute fines against businesses. The governor's executive order currently allows for local governments to create fines for businesses. And you've heard me say that we're exploring that, but we wanted voluntary compliance, and I believe, generally speaking, that is what we have received in order to avoid placing fines on businesses. The county attorney's office has advised me that because we are currently under a state of emergency, that I do have the authority via either executive order or through ordinance to create penalties or fines for businesses who are deemed to be non-compliant. We have chosen not to do that at this time because I will tell you that through general community concern and peer pressure, we have typically been able to get compliance without it. So at the end of the day, we want to be effective in what we do, and I think that we have been effective. We were the only county that I'm aware of in Central Florida that really created compliance teams to go out and hold businesses accountable. So I believe we had the right feel for what we were trying to accomplish here in this community.
The next question comes in from Sierra Putnam from WFTV. Mayor, what do you say to businesses that are struggling financially, trying to comply with COVID rules and feel like a fine would be piling onto an already bad year? This is in regards to a compliance fine that is up for consideration.
Well, that's a hypothetical. You know, if a business was not, we don't have fines first off, so there's a hypothetical question you know, that I don't know is necessarily relevant. And if we do institute fines, it would be for the bad actors. I prioritize people's lives over profits. And so the businesses that would be fined will only be the bad actors. It would be imposed on bad actors, those who are jeopardizing people's lives at stake. And so to that business, I say, well, so be it.
This next one is for both Mayor Dyer and Mayor Demings from Eric Von Aken from WKMG. His question reads, airlines are adding huge planes with massive capacity flying into MCO from across the country. The DOH's website states, quote, Florida has no travel restrictions in place, unquote, while the CDC is advising people to stay home for the holidays because of the surge. Does any of this worry either of you?
Well, it's a balance. We have to learn until we have the vaccine being widely available to everyone, we need to continue to do what the medical professionals have suggested that we do. People flying in and going to Disney or Universal, those are two of the safer places I can think of to go and not worry as much about whether you might contract COVID because of the social distancing and other practices that they put in place. Going to some of our bars, I'd worry a little bit more about that, but I guess the question is more direct. Are we concerned that people might be traveling here with COVID and spread it? And of course, we worry about every aspect of being infected with COVID.
And I would echo what Mayor Dyer says. I guess I would say, do I have a concern? The answer would be yes. But we have to balance out living with the ability of people to relax. We have to balance that against our livelihoods and the ability of our businesses and others to safely operate and to make profit. So we're balancing this as the best as we can, I think, and so it may be a good thing that people feel safe traveling here. You know, it kind of speaks to the type of community that we have. You know, so I would celebrate that at the same time, but I certainly would, you know, I can't say I don't have any concerns about it because I do.
And lastly, from Ryan Lynch in the Orlando Business Journal for Mayor Demings, with the eviction diversion program set to close, do you expect to use all the money allocated for that program, or do you expect it to move to another program?
If we get to the first week or two in December and it appears that through that program, we're not being successful in allocating those dollars, we're going to reallocate it. What we do know is that when we allocate it to the individuals and the families, we can quickly move that money for the most part. And so that would give us 2-week lag time to get that money out the door in the hands of people who need it. Okay, was that the last question? Okay, well, that was the last question. Let me just say to everybody, we wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much, Steve. All right, thank you all for being here.